Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today I am talking on a really important topic. That's revision, one of my favorite topics, but in particular, the revising of your parents' story. This video is made without any judgment of our parents. They did our best. However, it is really important that we revise the story of our parents if our experience as children was anything less than favorable. So stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie and I am a qualified life coach and author. I am also super passionate about the amazing teachings of the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville Goddard. It is the stories we tell that create our life, so if you want to change your life, then you need to change the stories. And if you want to create the most amazing life, then you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories, and that is why I am here. I am passionate about these teachings. Since rediscovering them, I'm now telling myself much better stories, and I really want to help you to do the same. If you would like further support with this, I am available for one-to-one coaching. I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course, or if you just want to stay connected, I am on Instagram. You will find all of those details in the box below. Okay, let's get into it. Today, I am talking on a really important topic that is close to my heart. It is the topic of revision. When I first came into these teachings again, I kind of bypassed revision. I was like, I'm not interested in, like, the past is the past, whatever, it's done, forget it. I want to move on and create new realities and amazing new experiences. And yes, that is all part of it. However, I have since come to understand, and Neville has emphasized many times, that it is really important to implement the technique of revision into your practice as well, because it will make creating realities in the future a lot more easier when we revise the negative stories of the past. They actually work in tandem. Revising and recreating are very much on the same path. We need to be doing both. You'll find that your reality will be showing up things that will remind you of things from your past, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. You just go into your imagination with all of this work and you do the work in your imaginations. It is a case of working in relationship with your reality rather than against it. So whatever reality is showing you, what is showing up for you, that's a reflection of consciousness that needs your attention, especially if it is unfavorable. And we find a lot of those wonderful stories in our intimate relationships with specific people. And so revision is a really powerful tool. And the reason that I wanted to make this video is because this is something that I have worked with specifically myself and continue to do. And so I understand just how powerful it is, basically. So as some of you know, if you've been to my channel and you've watched some of my videos, you know that I've had a childhood that was dysfunctional in many ways. My parents had their own story and they had their own thing going on, and they did the best they could. So none of this is coming with any judgment. Everyone is doing their best in life. There's no judgment. I just want to make that point. But what it does mean is that the states of consciousness that our parents were carrying will get passed on to us. And of course, we chose that for the experience, for the roller coaster ride of life that we chose coming into this human body. So yay, it's part of our creation. However, we do want to revise anything that is not unfavorable. And the reason that we want to do that is because if you, like me in the past, I'll always say the past because I am always revising, if you have been somebody who has experienced certain negative relationship patterns where you tend to attract the same kind of relationship or the same type of behavior in your partner, that's because you have a negative story running that was probably in consciousness from a very early age, way before the frontal cortex of your brain was developed, and you didn't have the capacity to rationalize or interpret effectively the things that were happening in childhood. So a lot of our stories come from the consciousness that we took on as babies, or even in the womb. Like, it goes all the way back to the fetus. And probably even before that. I mean, we are consciousness. That's what we are. And we will take consciousness into this body. And then whatever we don't deal with in this is my personal belief actually, but whatever we don't deal with in this life, we'll continue to work it through and play it through. It doesn't matter how many time it takes. That's why we're all on this path and this journey. The goal is not even the goal, it's guaranteed ending of this movie is awakening. We all awaken to the Christ consciousness that we all are. That's the spoiler alert. That's how this movie ends, but it can take as long as it takes, and there's no rush, because what else is there to do other than just go through this amazing experience over and over and over and just elevate and rise to the God consciousness that we all are. So we all awaken, it's guaranteed. However, we are in the process of that through this body, through this wonderful reality experience. And one of the techniques that can really help you along this path is the technique of revision. And I have found revising the story of my parents' marriage and relationship has been key for me to change the patterns that I had continued to attract in my relationships, because I have been going into relationships, intimate relationships with my partners, on a very negative story that was given to me from my parents, with no judgment. As I've said, they were doing their best with what they had at the time. However, it was dysfunctional, and therefore, I have had to change that now that I understand the power of vision, and I also understand consciousness, and that's what I want to get across to you. This is all consciousness. We are all consciousness. We are imagination. Everything is a reflection of imagination. That is who we are. That is all that this is. We are imagination, and this is all a reflection of our imagination, and it's all in consciousness. So past and future are just concepts of consciousness. So we can change and revise and recreate anything at any time, because everything is happening now. There is no past and future. The now is all there is, and past and future are just occurring in our consciousness. So think about a memory from your past. Now, you might think that that's real. However, that's in your imagination. That memory is in your consciousness. And if it's in consciousness, you can change that memory right now, especially if it is unfavorable. This took me a really long time to get, that I could actually go back and completely revise my parents' entire marriage and relationship. And the point of doing that is because I'm shifting my consciousness. By changing their relationship and my experience of them as their daughter, I'm now experiencing a shift in my consciousness and a different modeling of relationships. So now I'm creating new memories in my mind of being in a really loving, functional family where my parents both wanted and loved me and were present and available to me. And what that's doing by creating these images in my imagination and creating these stories and narratives, I'm actually shifting my consciousness around myself as being worthy and deserving and loved and wanted, and then my consciousness around relationships being easy and loving and beautiful and harmonious, and then also about men and women. So men being present and available and loving and kind and caring and generous and there for me and listening and seeing me and acknowledging me and validating me and all of those wonderful things. And then of women being open and beautiful and loving and caring and kind and receiving and all of the good things that we all want in intimate relationships. And it starts with our parents, because they're the initial caregivers. They're the ones who are modeling what a relationship is. Even if your biological parents weren't there, recreating that, or whatever, whoever your caregivers are, whatever the story is, if it is anything less than how you would like it to be, anything less than the ideal version, then it is up for revision. And I would highly recommend knowing the power of this technique and what it does. So I'll just finish that sentence. So I would highly recommend that you implement this technique into your life and into recreating the stories of your parents or your caregivers' story, because that is your first model of an intimate relationship. And if you have experienced any negative patterns in your relationship, I guarantee that by doing this, you will see a shift in your relationships and the people that you're attracting and the quality of your intimate relationships, because you're shifting consciousness, and reality has to reflect back that shift in consciousness. And the thing with revision, and this is why Neville says you must go back and revise every unfavorable experience in your past, because those timelines are still running in the present. And if an unfavorable timeline is running in the present, then that is going to be dictating our future. So our past, if it is unrevised, if we haven't dealt with it in our imagination, in our consciousness, that is going to be creating our future. So I just figured, go to the source, go to the parents. They're the first ones of an intimate relationship that we were witness to. So if it was anything other than favorable and desirable, we need to revise it. And then what happens is reality reorganizes itself now so that we can have a different experience. And so reality will reorganize itself. There's nothing else we have to do. The work that we do is in consciousness, it's in our imagination, and we are revising anything that's unfavorable from our past, and we are creating new futures and new realities. These work together. It is the most powerful tools and techniques that you can possibly implement into your life, especially when you use them together. And if you're somebody who's just really focused on creating the future, I would just suggest give it a go. Again, it's all up to you. You're the creators, you're the directors, you're the star of your show. Whatever you decide is true is what's true for you. However, I would just encourage you to give revision a go. And if you feel that there's any trauma in your past that it might be too much for you to do on your own, then seek out professional support, whether that is a coach or a medical professional or a trauma expert or whatever, but also trust yourself. I really do find I've dealt with a lot of trauma in my own story, in my own past, and what's amazing is that I've been able to recreate very traumatic stories and turn them into the most amazing stories with a whole new cast of characters. And I've deleted the ones who are not welcome in my reality. And I've recreated that whole story. And I've done that a number of times with a number of things that have happened in my past. And it's phenomenal. Like, I don't know exactly how it's all showing up, but I just know that reality is doing its thing and it's reorganizing itself so that that can reflect back the work that I'm doing in consciousness. This is a wonderful relationship between you, your consciousness, and your reality. And you always know where you are in your reality by looking at it objectively and go, is this favorable or unfavorable? And if it's unfavorable, the power is in your hands. The power is actually in your imagination. So I would encourage you to go there and do what needs to be done in your imagination to create the highest ideal for yourself and everybody else, so that you can move on to newer and brighter and more amazing futures. So I hope that video has given you a little bit of inspiration to go about your day. It's deep work we're doing. This is big stuff, you know, it's courageous and it's brave, and I applaud all of you who are here and who are still listening and doing this work every day. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for doing this work, because when you elevate your consciousness, you elevate the consciousness of everyone else in your movie, in your reality, and you become the inspiration. You become the light of the world in your movie, and you lift everybody else up. And that is why we're here. We are raising consciousness and we are lifting ourselves up, and we are all in the process of awakening and becoming the gods that we know ourselves to be in consciousness, and we're figuring it out in human bodies as well. Please remember, you are the creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. This is my wish for you. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, and share with family and friends. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Bye.